Here we are at week 18, the final one of the regular season, where some teams will squeak into the playoffs, some will get their hopes crushed, and some are just playing for funsies because their die has been cast for a while. No Thursday night football this week, so we'll jump straight in on Saturday, starting with the Ravens crushing the Browns, winning their second straight NFC North title. The Browns haven't played for fun all season, and they didn't here as they lost 35-10. One of the games of the week was the late game on Saturday, had the Bengals topping the Steelers 19-17. Unfortunately, despite Joe Burrow's heroics and the catches of Jamar Chase, otherwise known as the human cheat code, the Bengals missed the playoffs thanks to the Broncos' 38-10 pounding of the Chiefs, who were sitting all their starters. That's just cheating. The Broncos now go on to Buffalo Sunday to face the Bills, who sat their starters, sort of, and still nearly beat the Patriots 23-16. Josh Allen played the first play of the game, only the first play, to keep his consecutive start streak alive at 105. That's still a little bit short of Brett Favre's record of 297. Also, if you know anyone looking for a job, the Patriots are looking for a coach. They fired theirs right after the game. I guess they should have won by more. I don't know. The Panthers, who have been horrible most of the year, put on a great show with Bryce Young quieting his critics. He will be, barring any amazing occurrences, he will be the quarterback of the team next year. He ran for touchdowns. He threw wonderfully. Just did a great job. Beating the Falcons 44-38. They're legendary rivals of each other. The AFC South champion Texans beat the Titans 23-14. This will be meaningful to anyone who was an Oilers fan like me back in the day before the Oilers departed in the dark of the night and became the Titans. We still are a little sore about that. The NFC East Eagles beat the Giants 20-13 without Jalen Hurts, who will hopefully be out of concussion protocol by next week's game against the Packers, who saw quarterback Jordan Love go out late in a 24-22 loss to the Bears. So it's entirely possible that we'll have two teams playing in the playoffs with their backup quarterback starting. Now, anybody who remembers Eagles history knows that they have a good record with backup quarterbacks in the playoffs. They won a Super Bowl with one. But we'll see. We'll see. Hopefully everybody's back and we get all the full slate of players on the field. Let's see. The Colts beat the Jaguars, the Commanders beat the Cowboys, and the Seahawks and Rams played in largely meaningless games. The Commanders move on to face the NFC South champion Buccaneers, who beat the Saints 27-19. Saints just had a miserable season. The Cardinals beat the Niners, and the Jets beat the Dolphins in more meaningless games. Other than Aaron Rodgers possibly having played his last game, at least his last game as a Jet. I really, Aaron, I know you watch this, even if you don't ever comment. I'd like to speak directly to you, Aaron. It's time to hang up the helmet. It's time, go out on a high note, go out, a winner, and just ride off into the sunset. It's time to go. You played a hell of a game. You did that a couple of times this year, not too many. So let's just go. The last game of the season had the Vikings versus the Lions for the NFC's best record and otherwise known as the first seed who gets the bye in the first round of the playoffs. Now, this was supposed to be a slugfest. The Lions defense is absolutely decimated. I mean, the number of starters that they've got on injured reserve or just, they're hurt beyond belief is staggering. And the Vikings, this was supposed to be one of those games that would come out, 45-43, 45-42, something like that. But the Lions managed to put together a defensive performance that was simply incredible. Their defensive coordinator really deserves some sort of defensive coordinator of the year award, if there is such a thing. They knew what the Vikings were going to do before they did it. They had the coverage packages set right. They just did a fantastic job. And let's see, that final score ended up to be 31-9. 31-9. So the Vikings, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Now, the first round matchups for next weekend. Starting 4:30 on Saturday, we have the Chargers at the Texans. The Chargers are 3-point favorites. Now these middle games, where you got the fourth versus the fifth seed, things like that. Those are very often very great games. They're sometimes the best games of the weekend. So we'll see. C.J. Stroud did a great job for the Texans this year. He was a little, they won the AFC South for the second straight season, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. The AFC South frequently is not so great. And then we've got the grudge match at 8 p.m. Pop your popcorn, get your dips ready. We've got the Steelers at the Ravens. The Ravens are 9-point favorites, boys and girls. God, I would love to see the Steelers rise up righteous and win this game, but I just don't see it happening. And I apologize to all my Steelers fan friends for saying that, but let's get real. I think the Ravens are just going to beat them this year. Then the first game on Sunday, the game that I personally will be most deeply invested in, the Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are 8.5-point favorites. That scares me. Always scares me when the Bills are big favorites in a game. Bo Nix, the quarterback of the Broncos, despite having probably the funniest name in Major League Football, has been an absolute genius. He surprised everybody. He's really, really great quarterback, but he's not Josh Allen. So let's just hope. Bills fans never like to say we're going to win that game. It's kind of forbidden. You can get thrown out of a bar in Buffalo for saying that, but I'd like to see it happen. So the Packers at 4:30 will be playing the Eagles. Eagles are 4.5-point favorites. Again, this depends on who's healthy. If Jalen Hurts isn't healthy, that 4.5-point favorite thing doesn't matter at all. The Packers finished 11-6, third place in the NFC North, which is just an absolutely brutal division this year. I mean, the winning records. It's kind of like how bad the NFC South usually is. The NFC North was pretty amazing this year. Saquon Barkley did not get to have his record because they sat all their starters. And Saquon was a gentleman about it. Plus the fact that if he had taken the rushing record, it would have been in 17 games rather than the 16 that Eric Dickerson did it in. So there would have had to have been an asterisk there, I think. The late game on Sunday, 8 p.m., the Washington Commanders at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It kind of depends on which Buccaneers team shows up. They're 3-point favorites. But again, this is going to be one of those slugfest things. Washington is in the postseason for the first time since 2020 when it lost to the Buccaneers, who were then led by Tom Brady. Boo hiss. Then we've got the Minnesota Vikings, Monday Night Football. Minnesota Vikings are playing at the Los Angeles Rams. The Vikings are only 2.5-point favorites. The Rams have a hell of a defense. This should be a really interesting way to finish out the weekend. But as always, we're just going to have to watch and see. And I will be back with you next Tuesday to talk about the divisional round of the playoffs and anything else that crosses our plate. I hear we're getting a president inaugurated sometime here real soon. So let's see. We'll talk to you later. Bye.